Jimmy Butler has gone down with potentially a career-threatening knee injury as he goes down with an ACL tear in his right knee. Could the Golden State Warriors come calling to the Chicago Bulls? Have a chat about it right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome back to another episode of Whole Lotta Bull. I'm Troy. Follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy, but follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. All right, guys. So our old friend Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, it's been confirmed that after yesterday's game, he has torn the ACL in his right knee. And so that's essentially the next 12 months gone for him. And at the age of 36, it could well potentially be career threatening. Um, he's got one more year left on his contract with the Golden State Warriors after this season, and he's going to, miss half of that season, potentially, if not more. He may not. There's that very possible, depending on Jimmy Butler's capability to recover from this ACL injury. He may not play next season at all. So that might be it for Jimmy Butler, possibly. Um, Ultimately, at the end of the day, I hope that's not the end of Jimmy Butler. As much as I personally got sick of his diva-like qualities, especially once Dwayne Wade came to Chicago, and then after Jimmy left the Bulls, we all know that the type of personality that Jimmy Butler seemed to develop and run with. But at the end of the day, I don't like seeing any player whatsoever go down with an injury, let alone a serious season-ending injury, or in Jimmy's case, potentially a career-threatening injury. So best wishes to Jimmy Butler. Hopefully he does get back on the court, and we get to see him back on the court in 12 months' time. Fingers crossed for that. So with that being said, does Jimmy Butler's injury with the trade deadline coming up in a matter of weeks, could the Golden State Warriors come back around to the Chicago Bulls about Nikola Vucevic? Now, we all remember coming into last year's trade deadline, the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls were in discussions about a Nikola Vucevic for Jonathan Kuminga trade. So how does this injury for Jimmy Butler potentially affect the future of the Golden State Warriors? Does that now mean that Jonathan Kuminga becomes a vital piece of that team, and one that decide, despite Jonathan Kuminga's trade request, they decide to hang on to and go, look, no, there's a spot here for you now with Jimmy being out, and he takes on Jimmy Butler's, not necessarily his entire role, because obviously he's a completely different player and a completely different level than Jimmy Butler. But now he has a real opportunity to step in and step up. Or, on the alternative, does this make Golden State come back around to those discussions that they had with the Chicago Bulls last season, and they still want to fulfill Jonathan Kuminga's trade request, and we potentially see a Kuminga for Nikola Vucevic deal to go down? So how could a deal possibly look? Well, and why would Golden State want Nikola Vucevic anyway? Like, we all know Nikola Vucevic at this point has become a bit of a negative asset. Like, essentially, who wants him at this stage? The only team that really, at this point in time, that could make sense for the Warriors, especially we all know that had Nikola Vucevic could fit into the Golden State Warriors system, lots of ball movement. He can spread the floor with his 3-point shot. So obviously a straight up deal, Nikola Vucevic for Jonathan Kuminga, works on the books. Now, whether there's picks to be included either way, that's up for everyone else's debate. Me, when I put together mock trades, fake trades, I'm not looking at what draft picks switch hands and all that sort of stuff. I'm looking at purely at the dollar figures, financially, what trade works and what potentially could make sense for both teams in a deal. with players only. Okay, so I don't like to include draft picks because that's up for complete debate. All right, so straight up deal. Nikola Vucevic for Jonathan Kuminga works on the books for that. So, like I mentioned, the Golden State Warriors, they potentially do this deal because he's a willing passer. He rebounds. They're not getting much out of Quinton Post, like they thought they were getting last year. From what I understand, like, okay, I don't watch much Golden State. I haven't watched any Golden State Warriors games, to be honest. From what I've seen, though, Al Horford has been a complete disappointment. The guy, like the man, is 39 years old, so obviously he started to show his age this season. So he hasn't been much for Golden State this year. So getting in Nikola Vucevic does get them a legitimate big man at the center position that they can rely on. Like Nikola Vucevic is a reliable player. He is going to play games. We all say the best ability is availability. Well, Nikola Vucevic, he has availability in spades. He doesn't miss that many games at all. I mean, look at down the line. So Quinton Post, as I mentioned, he hasn't performed from what I understand. Trace Jackson Davis, I'm not sure how he's performed, but still an undersized center at 6'9". And also, as I mentioned, Al Horford, 39 years of age. He's showing that his days are almost done. So if you bring in Nikola Vucevic into the Golden State Warriors, obviously you get Vuce starting at the center. Draymond Green remains starting at the power forward position. Also, you're going to have Steph Curry starting at the point, and then you two like your 2 and your 3 spot. Maybe you got your Buddy Hield at the 2, or maybe you move him up to the 3 spot and you start Brandon Pajemski. That's a potential starting lineup there for the Golden State Warriors, assuming they don't make any other possible deals. Moses Moody could also start. You could have Moses Moody and Buddy Hield both starting at the 2 and 3 positions. Either way, like that, and you keep Pajemski coming off the bench. And obviously, when you look at the Chicago Bulls point of view, depending on how you view Jonathan Kuminga, is he a small forward? Is he a power forward? That's to be determined. But then you can start Jalen Smith at the center or Zach Collins when he returns from injury. You can start, Marcus Buzelis and Jonathan Kuminga at the 2 and 3 spots. And then obviously leaves Kobe White and Josh Giddey to round out your starting guard spot. Isaac Okoro moves to the bench. Now, defensively, is that going to be the greatest lineup out there? Well, no, but neither was having Nikola Vucevic out the floor as well, because defensively he's just the witch's hat. Like the last few games, the credit to Nikola Vucevic, he has stepped up defensively. He's averaging, I believe it's over 2 blocks a game over these last handful of games. So, but we all know Nikola Vucevic's history. He's not a strong defender at all, and so many times he would just stand there and watch you shoot the ball over his head. So and with Jonathan Kuminga, but just still only being 23 years of age at 6'8", he still has the potential to get better defensively. Now, offensively, what can he bring you? Well, he's not going to bring you 18 and 10 as Nikola Vucevic does. Now, obviously, for different reasons this year, Jonathan Kuminga is not getting much in the way of playing time. He's only played in 18 possible games that the Warriors, I think, whether they've played like 41, 42 something games. And in those games played, he's averaging just shy of 25 minutes a game, just under 12 points. He's getting six rebounds and 2.5 assists. So shooting splits 43%. He's on 10 attempts a game and shooting 32% from beyond the arc. This is a guy who will get his shots up, but based on this, he's not going to get as many shots. Well, he may not necessarily take as many shots as Nikola Vucevic. And so, like I said, Nikola Vucevic lately has been taking upwards of 16 plus shots. Jonathan Kuminga might hover around that 10 to 12 mark. That potentially opens up more shot for Marcus Buzelis as well. And ultimately, you've got a strong young forward line there of Buzelis and Kuminga for the next 10 plus years if you choose to keep both of them around. So there's still a lot of potential growth there in Jonathan Kuminga. Look, I have openly said in the past, I have had no interest in Jonathan Kuminga. I am starting to change my tune on that one, especially if it helps us get rid of or be rid of Nikola Vucevic. I mean, you can't lie. There is some intriguing aspects there about Jonathan Kuminga. Now, would we be better off going after the likes of a Zion Williamson? And I guarantee, like, especially that's going to be a definite yes, right? Zion Williamson clearly a far superior player than Jonathan Kuminga, but at the same time, Jonathan Kuminga does open up a bit more versatility offensively. Like he can score inside, he can score from outside, whereas Zion Williamson's predominantly going to get all of his shots and points in the paint. Um, but yeah, it is definitely an intriguing thought to come across at the moment. So drop some comments down the below. Hit me up on Twitter at Whole Lotta Bull. What do you guys think of now that Jimmy Butler unfortunately has gone down with a season-ending injury with this ACL? Will the Golden State Warriors, now this is not about now let me make this clear. This is not about the Bulls calling the Golden State Warriors and asking about Jonathan Kuminga. This is more about, could the Golden State Warriors be calling AK and potentially opening up discussions there with for Nikola Vucevic for Jonathan Kuminga deal. Let me know in the comments down below. Hit me up on Twitter. We'll chop it up there. If you're in the Bulls HQ Discord, let's talk it up in there as well. So yeah, what do you guys think? I think it's definitely an intriguing idea. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that Mike Dunleavy and the Golden State Warriors come back around to. We all know that the discussions were definitely there last year uh, before the possibility of Jimmy Butler being traded from Miami to Golden State became real. Like there was the talks there with the Bulls and Warriors were there. Do that? Do the Warriors come circling back again for Nikola Vucevic? Let me know. But ultimately, that's a deal in a vacuum. I'm completely on board with. But as like anything with a trade deadline about 3 weeks away now, well, we shall see what happens. All right, guys, this is a quick one. Don't forget the Bulls are back on the court tomorrow. They're playing the LA Clippers. So I'll see you guys for the post game then. Don't forget, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Bulls_Troy. Follow the show at Whole Lot of Bull. So until tomorrow, Bulls Nation, see red. Be good.